The subreddit, Am I the Asshole?
Ooh, I love that subreddit.
Oh, yeah, I love it too. It's 1 year old, so ancient. Am I the asshole for being upset by my husband's solo vacation travel? Okay. I, 40 female, have a wonderful, loving husband, 40 male. He is an involved father, he pitches in with the housework, and he makes enough money for us to be very comfortable, while I stay home with our 2 young children. I work before kids and intend to again once they're both school age. He's the love of my life. That's always so sus when they enter with this beautiful thing, because you're also like, okay, but you're on the Emma the Asshole subreddit, so what happened? Like, what are you priming me for here?
It's like they're trying to they're there with the knife ready to just put it in the back's characters. Like, they are nice, but these motherfuckers, they
It seems like, really, I feel so sus. Like, what's coming?
Definitely.
He's wonderful.
All right. We get it.
Okay, he's wonderful, ... when he's here.
Attachment issues.
Woo! Here's the turn. He has a dear friend living in a different city 5 hours away, who he usually visits for 2 to 3 days twice a month. Oh, that's a lot. Okay.
Okay.
It's just 2 to 3 days twice a month.
2 to 3 days twice a month.
So basically 4 to 6 days in a month. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. A few times a year, they tend to take longer 4 to 6 day trips. It adds up to a lot of time away, but it's manageable increments and in service to an important friendship that I wouldn't want him to miss out on. Last fall, they took a 2-week trip abroad. I knew about it well in advance and was fine with it. I figured it was a one every few years sort of thing. A month or so after the trip, he tells me they're planning another overseas trip for this spring. This time, it's a place I've always wanted to go. We had previously started to plan a trip there ourselves, but I decided it would have to wait until the kids were older. I told him I wasn't happy, but somewhat grudgingly gave my blessing to what he was supposed to be a 7 to 10 day trip. Same goes for another 5 to 7 day trip abroad they decided to plan for this summer. Again, to a place we had previously talked about going together when kids are older.
Can't you wait?
Yeah, it's like
what's the problem? If you want to go when the children are older, but he already wants to go, wait, then let him go. Okay. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Then I found out that first the spring trip and then the summer trip had ballooned into 3 weeks each. 3 weeks. Instead of maximal 10 days. Wow. I got upset. I cried and told him I felt betrayed and abandoned, like he was leaving me here to raise the kids. Both trips will now cause him to miss significant kid-related events he knew about before planning.
Oh, okay.
Well, he just goes on doing what he wants and living his life without me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
shitty.
That's not considerate. Yeah.
No. He found my response really hurtful, that I would act like he's abandoning me and the kids, and said that he deserves to have meaningful friendships and see beautiful things. And your wife doesn't deserve that.
The moment you decided to have children,
Nope.
your life is gone, okay? You need to accept that.
No, and it's also true. The moment you have children with your wife, your free time is not anymore just your free time.
Without considering the
family.
rest. Exactly. Like, you can still solo trip, but you need to consider always like the rest
the
of the
family
family
and your wife, and maybe she also wants to have a break and travel, things like that. Like,
exactly.
You sound selfish.
And 3 weeks for every single trip, that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, altogether, he's gone for 6 weeks through spring to summer.
That's way too long.
That's so
like
long.
Taking care of your children alone for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
while the other has a lot of fun with his
Jeez,
friends.
right.
Okay,
You
anyway.
are abandoning her and the children for that amount of time. Am I being unreasonable about this? I feel like I might be, because I haven't done a good job balancing parenthood and my own social life. I basically don't have one anymore. And worry I might be speaking from a place of envy than fairness, which, even if, is kind of fair, considering the fact that your husband Plans to go away for so long, not even asking if you would like to go on a solo trip once. And he would stay with the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so actually being a stay-at-home parent is hard. Imagine doing
full-time
your work
job.
Yeah. Imagine having to work in an office 24/7. Not even sleep is a break. And you're doing it alone with people that you cannot talk to, and also can talk to, but not in an adult way, kind of. It's hard. And we do also take all the trips together as a family. But 2 months of international travel in the span of a year seems like a lot. Oh yeah, but you got the third travel actually too. That's about 4 months out of town with his friend.
No way, 4 months of 12 months. Jeez.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to read the sentence. When you also add on the bi-monthly hanging out. So she's counting the 4 months with the travels and the hangouts. But I get it if you consider the fact that when he hangs out with him every second week, he also travels 5 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's about 4 months out of town with his friend.
That type of friend,
Yeah. I can count on one hand the number of solo days I've had in the last 3 years with any of my friends. And so, again, I'm not sure how much this is envy versus unfairness. It's both, and it's okay. It's actually fair that you feel this is unfair and envy. Because it's not a great partnership like that. I'm sorry.
But I mean, I think way more people would go into marriage if they knew they have a 4-month vacation, from each other. You
could agree on that if you would want to. I mean,
but it needs to be mutual, of course.
It needs to be communicated, and agreed upon. Note: I haven't yet insisted he cancel any of these trips, but want to ask he at least scale the summer trip back to 1 week instead of 3. Wow, you are generous. So bonus, would I be the asshole if I insist the scale back to summer trip to 1 week?
She still tries to compromise, you know, because maybe she doesn't understand what he's going through, maybe emotionally.
But she's already granting so much with 2 times a month and just travel.
Yeah. If they would be, just a married couple with no children, I think it would be different.
Yeah.
But
I think then
it
would be fine then, because she could also, in theory, go with her friends.
Do whatever she wants.
Do whatever she wants, except for if she would say that she doesn't like that. But as we said, though, the moment you have kids, your free time isn't your free time alone anymore.
Be responsible.
I
think this podcast is like a podcast of two tias just giving their advice and judging everyone. You need to be responsible,
guys. We lied to you.
You need to stop hanging out with mama's boys and assholes. Yeah,
we lied to you guys. We're actually older than we told you we are.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not 24-year-olds. We're actually 60.
We like to tell you what you have to do and not have to do.
We lived a life, okay? We experienced things.
Enough.
No, we're not.
No, we're actually not. But what are the top comments then on that story?
So first for you, is she now an asshole for being upset by my husband's solo vacation travel? That was her first question. Is she an asshole?
No, she's not. You are not, cariño. You're not an asshole.
No, you're not enough of an asshole, actually.
You should be more.
No, you should actually set more boundaries here. So the overall vote was not the asshole, which is good.
Okay.
Something
comment. We and the internet agree on.
Yes. Top comment was, you're not the asshole, but I do think you're not facing a harsh truth. This dear friend is more than that.
Yeah, what I just said. It's definitely more than a friend.
Yeah. See, I was thinking that too, but didn't want to jump to conclusions. But it does sound a lot like.
I think we're all thinking the same. Yeah.
Because I'm honestly also, what kind of selfish friend do you have that he's like, yeah, of course. I mean, you need to be here every 2 weeks for me, and I mean, you have family and kids, and I can never. Did he ever visit them? That's the other question.
That's the other question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had to think about how historians, are kind of interpreting old scriptures again. We know when they used to say, oh yeah, this emperor, he was so so shocked and traumatized by the death of his best friend, and then now his parents agree that they were not only friends.
Yeah.
They were surely like
if this
a couple.
dear friend even is yeah, I mean, well, we all have an idea what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's more than that. He has a live-in nanny and housekeeper who lets him to take off and travel whenever and to wherever at his leisure. Use this time away for a month to secure a job and nanny. Then file for divorce and custody. I wish you well.
Okay, that was, a pretty good guide.
Yeah,
Step
someone
by
else
step
actually
guide.
replied under that. I've never been so sure someone has a second family, even if it's just another spouse. Which we had a lot of, I heard a lot of stories about actually guys that have a second family on the side. That actually are married to two people and have kids with another family. And it's like
in Mexico,
traveling a lot.
In Mexico, we call them Casa Grande and Casa Chica, Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. So, it's more common than you think.
Someone else wrote, oh, honey, he's speeding you down so badly that now you're accepting scraps and putting pressure on yourself to smile while doing it. My husband spends more time on average with me and the kids than your husband spends with you, and mine is in the goddamn army. I mean, let that sink in there. Your husband spends less time with you than many people who are legally required to pull 24-hour shifts and deploy at a moment's notice. And for what? To spend time with a friend? Yeah, no. His ass is cheating, whether it's physical or not. He's stealing time and money and emotional energy that rightfully ought to be directed towards his wife and children. He's taking advantage of you and treating you like a live-in nanny. None of that is okay. I actually didn't even think about this part too. Considering the fact that she's not working and staying at home also means he's using money that is for both of them and the family to go on vacation for the trips. Yeah.
Again, from a financial perspective, what a waste of money.
No, it's just it's in this case it just shows his character, because money that could also contribute to the family he's just using for himself. He's just taking care of himself and everything, having pleasure and time for himself, like probably even for the cheating, probably even to have a second family or spouse or whatever.
My God.
So none of that is okay. He deserves to see beautiful things. Hell no. What do you and the kids not also deserve to see beautiful things? Are your time and your relationships completely fucking worthless? What about your kids and their memories and their relationships? Are they also less important than this grown man's escapism? Fuck scaling back the trip. He doesn't need yet another trip to go pretend that he's a childless bachelor. What he needs is some priorities, and if he refuses to get those in order, then maybe it's time for you to go find a man who can be an actual partner in life. So, not the asshole.
Okay, so we all agree that that he's the asshole. Next, I didn't find any other. Like, honestly, if we would go any deeper into this subject, I think I would get so mad, because it's like, even though everyone talks about feminism and all those sorts of things, if the man has like the whole financial power, we are still as vulnerable and in disadvantage as like 2 centuries ago, That's
literally a topic I just 2 hours ago talked to my husband about.
Yeah.
Just because of how a lot of women end up in abusive or just toxic relationship, because they're used by the man by the fact that she's a stay-at-home mom and he deprives her of all money. So I feel like I told him it should be legally actually required that if one parent stays home, she gets paid for the hour that she's home as her own separate kind of loan. Which would just, even if it's not during the marriage, but if she would decide to split, that she would instantly get all that money. I know there's element like the money you get when you're separate, but it's not the same in a way, because there's so many women that are trapped because they cannot leave, because they don't have anything, because the husband earns everything, which is also why I would never do that. No, it's just seriously. I mean, my husband and I have a shared account where but we also have our own separate accounts, and we put money together in our our shared account to buy things together. But each one of us has our own money, and we will keep it that way, even if I would be a stay-at-home mom at some point. Sometimes it's even because of simple things like, what if I want to buy him a gift? Should I use his card to buy him a gift? That would kind of feel stupid.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to have your own autonomy and not feel like you'll always have to ask someone for permission, even though you're doing a hell lot of work here.
Zuleika and I studied both like economics in like high school, so I think this is kind of proving that even though we say we hate it, we're still kind of interested in this type of subjects because they are so essential and existential, actually.
But for me, it also comes from the fact that my mom always used to tell me when I was young, like, get yourself a man that can pay you everything so you never have to work. Which is kind of, in a way, a bit of the Dominican mentality. And I get it in a way, but I also was too proud for that. I was like, no, I'm not going to school, force myself to learn math and all of those damn shitty things, go to economy school just to be paid by a man. No.
Nah.
And also I would never want to be then in this financial power struggle of having to kind of submit to him, and because he brings the money home and he's so much better. It's like, no, I could pick up a job anytime.
Yeah. There are even working women who just leave all the financial stuff to the man, and then years later they find out that he fucked up with the finances, and then they lose as well. So you just really need to be very careful.
I am guilty of that. But that's another story.